Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Gore Clown Shop.
Do you love all things horror? Books? Movies? Podcasts? Of course you do. Well, come on down to goreclown.com.
Original artwork by an indie horror fan for indie horror fans.
Use code SLEEPOVER at checkout to save 15% on your whole purchase.
Oh, and did we mention? Gore Clown is the only place to get official Spoiler Sleepover merch.
So don't forget to use Sleepover to save 15%.
Stay indie, suckers!
Greetings, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends. Welcome to Spoiler Sleepover, part of the Nerdcast Network. Join your hosts, Jason, Michael, and Rob, as they bring you on a slash-tastic adventure with cinema. Now, enjoy the show. It'll be a real scream of a time.
Don't tell me my business, devil woman.
Greetings! Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Spoiler Sleepover. I'm Jason Michael.
I'm Rob.
Damn
stuff.
right. Robin Stuff. And of course, is that like Robin Thicke?
Yeah,
Right? Is
except
that guy?
I'm
Is
extra
that person?
thick. Yeah, it is Robin
Is
Thicke,
that
yes.
the dude who did Blurred Lines?
It sure is. I think it's
See?
his dad. It's one of them. That's
On the
his
other side
son.
of that,
His
who
son.
cares?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jason Michael,
Yar!
what are we doing? What are we doing today? What are we talking about?
I'll tell you what we're talking about in this hoose. What? Fuck. We're talking about 1925's The Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney Sr.
Or as
Before,
he's
of course-
credited, Lon Chaney.
Yeah. He was just Lon Chaney at this point because the junior is not Lon. So
Just a twinkle in that eye.
he's Creighton Chaney.
Creighton.
Anyway, before we get to that, of course, we have to talk about some what's been keeping us up at night. Rob,
What?
you know what?
Huh? Yeah. What's been keeping me up at night? I have been watching the new Peacock show, Teacup. Cutest name ever for a really fucking dark show. It's really goddamn good. I highly recommend. It was actually, I don't know if I've spoken of it yet, but it's Stephen King and Joe Hill both claimed it as the best show, like best horror show that has been on the air in a long time. And I have to say, I slightly agree. It's dark, it's confusing, it's like Lost, and I don't know, some people being trapped somewhere. It's good. Watch it.
Lost and Trapped.
I've been watching that. Yep. And speaking of trapped, I also watched Mousetrap, the first of the Steamboat Willie movies to be released, and it was shit. Don't do it. It's not worth it. I'm not even going to go into it any more than that. It's not good. And then as of tonight, the little one and I started watching a Netflix show. Well, it's not a Netflix show. It's on Netflix called Mighty Monster Wheelies. And dude, I'm telling you, you don't have kids, but fucking watch this show. It is a Universal show, and it's trucks based off of the Universal monsters. So they're and they're all good guys. So they like help out around this town. Motorvania is what it's called. Dude, it's nuts. The Black Lagoon is called the Blacktop Lagoon. It's fucking nuts, dude. It's hilarious and it's a lot of fun. Some good voice acting. It's just, it's a kid's show. It's meant for children, but we have plenty of listeners out there who have kids and are probably trying to find a way to introduce their kids to horror in a safe way, I guess. Dude, seriously, the Wolfman is called Sweeps. He's a garbage truck who's also a street cleaner. It's awesome, dude. He howls and everything. Yep. And Frankenstein's monster is a fire truck. His name is Bolts. I didn't just watch 12 episodes of this show in a row, but I did.
Okay.
So that's what's been keeping me up at night. Jason Michael, what's been keeping you up at night?
Well, not to get ahead of ourselves here, but a little peek behind the curtain. I went back to the theater the other day and rewatched Terrifier 3. So we briefly spoke about it on our
TikTok. Oh yeah, it's on our TikTok.
Yep, it's on our TikTok about our first thoughts on Terrifier 3. Since then, it was uploaded to YouTube, and I watched it, and it was taken down within the last couple of minutes, so I already knew what was going to happen. Going back and watching it for a third time in the theater, I mean, all the Terrifier movies it's a fucked up movie, and I love it.
Yeah, when you texted me that you went to go see it again, you saw it again. It was your text. I watched Terrifier 3 again. I'm like, where? And my fiance immediately was like, did he go to the movies? Who'd he go with? And I was like, he probably went. If he went by himself, because that's what I used to do. Now I feel obligated to invite you. Like, if I had my way, I'd just be like, all right, you guys aren't going to see me tonight. I'm going to the movies. I'll see you around 10 or 11. That's awesome. Where was it showing near you?
It's probably a Regal. I'm pretty sure it's Regal. We'll say.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. But I saw Terrifier 3 again at Regal, and it was just as horrifying as the first time, or terrifying, if you will. It was great to watch it without trying to go for first impressions or not seeing it before, and just so I could sit back and enjoy the movie. Similar thing happened if people just walked out during some of the talking scenes, because I mean, it felt like the flow was nice, but man, sometimes it felt like those scenes just dragged on. So that's what's been keeping me up at night. I haven't really been watching much else other than that. So Terrifier 3, if you haven't seen it, why? And go see it if you haven't. But that's what's been keeping us up at night. Let us know what you've been watching. And if you've seen Terrifier 3, definitely let us know and what your thoughts are on it. Now, Rob, moving into our next subject about squiggly little things that I've cleaned out my ears and there's nothing in there, so fuck off.
That's why I have extras in mine. Thanks.
Son of a bitch. You're welcome. I'm going to jump the gun and tell you all about my earworm for this week, because you've sent me on a mission. You gave me some homework to do. And so far So for those of you that missed it, our last earworm was talking about Chromacopia, the new Tyler, the Creator album, and how I have not listened to any Tyler, the Creator really outside of that album. Now, since then, I have listened to Goblin, and I am almost done with Wolf. Now, Goblin is really, really good. Wolf, for me, got me in the second half. I think the second half is really, really strong. The front half has a couple good songs, but it's like the back half is like, what am I listening to? But I'm enjoying the ride I'm on with Tyler, the Creator right now, and I think I got like maybe 3 songs left on Wolf, and then is it Igor's next?
No, Cherry Bomb is next, and then you have Flower Boy, and then Igor, and then Call Me If You Get Lost. There's 2 of these albums here. Well, it's I don't want to give anything away. Call Me If You're Lost and Chromacopia tie together in a very strange and interesting way, based off of 3 of the characters. So Cherry Bomb, Flower Boy, Igor all tie in to Call Me If You Get Lost. Call Me If You Get Lost and Chromacopia. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that either Cherry Bomb or Flower Boy you're not going to like. Lyrically, I think you're going to dig it. I think musically you're going to be like, what the fuck happened? Because both of those albums kind of made me do that. Like Cherry Bomb lost me. It took me a few years, and then I went back and listened to it again, and I was like, yes, this is a really good album. Flower Boy, I was very apprehensive because of Cherry Bomb, so I kind of walked in with my guards up, and probably shouldn't have done that because I was like, But then I re-listened to it like shortly after, and I was like, no, this album fucking hits hard. Like, it's a good album.
Okay.
So
nice. That's what I've been listening to. Rob, what's squiggling around in your ear?
Well, I feel like the past 2 months, I really did listen to the album like 20 times. I don't know, the past like 3 months, or I guess 2 months and the first week of this month, has really just been feeding me new music. One of my favorite beatdown hardcore bands, Salt Wound, came out of left field and were like, hey, here's an entirely new album. And I was like, okay. I'm part of their fan group, on Instagram. So
Salt
they like
Wounders?
sent out, yeah, right.
Salties?
I don't think they have a fan base name. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. But
Wounders?
yeah, so I've listened to that album 4 times now, and it is real good, real interesting. Each song kind of stops, but then like flows into the next one. It's really interesting because there's like a definite like, and then the next song starts, but it's like almost the same chord progression. Like there shouldn't have been a break in the song in the first place if they had like just made the songs flow together. Maybe that was their intention, but I don't know. I just really dig it. It's really good. Lyrically, it hits as hard as their past stuff that they've released. So yeah, if you've never heard of Salt Wound, go check them out. They have a bunch of EPs. This is their first official like debut full-length album. And they've been around for a fucking while, 2017, and it's almost 25 and they were just releasing their first full length. So yeah, check out Salt Wound. They're fucking awesome. And this album's great. And the album cover is brutal. I love it. So yeah, that's my earworm for the week. Let us know what you've been listening to, folks. We want music. Jason Michael stepping outside of the box and checking out some stuff he knows slightly. And that's really exciting for me. But let us know what you're listening to. We're always down to check out some stuff we've never heard of before. We're genuinely interested. You can hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, Threads if you use that, and now TikTok. Please go follow our TikTok. We're only sitting at like 7 followers, which is heartbreaking, but one of our videos actually just broke 1,400 views. So we're getting foot traffic. We're just not getting the followers. I do put a lot of work in just the announcement of our merch. Like it was a simple merch announcement one, which was interesting. So I'm working on this. I think this will be a great way to just keep everyone in the loop when we go on season break, in between seasons, when we're bored, when there's big announcements, and for some fun stuff. If you guys want to see our faces, I'm going to be working on that pretty hard. But that's enough of that. Hit us up. Let us know what you're listening to. Jason Michael, I believe you had told me ahead of time that you have yourself a Creeping It Real. What do you got?
It's
Are
nothing.
you Frankenstein's
particular.
monster chainsawing it over there?
No, don't worry about that.
Oh.
I just wanted to, because we didn't really talk about it in our Halloween episode with Dominique, and we didn't really talk about it in last week's episode of Curse. But just wanted to, if you did not see over on our socials, wanted to talk about Halloween and how it was for you, what you dressed up as, how your costume went, how the whole day was as a whole.
Well, I worked, so
Same.
that was fun. My actual Halloween, I dressed up for work as Leatherface, and yeah, that was fun. The real quote unquote, I still hate this about New Hampshire, but the Halloween that was celebrated in our household was on the 30th, which was not Halloween, but still a lot of fun. We went out trick-or-treating, and the neighborhood is great. Really cool houses, lots of cool decorations. There were a bunch of asshole teenagers, and that pissed me off. And then I realized I'm an old man now. It's like, get these fucking teenagers away from me and our family. This is pissing me off. But yeah, no, it was nice. It was a nice 2 days. I do feel like October flew by. So like,
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, we live the spooky life year round. So October being sort of like meh for me kind of bummed me out a bit, but I think I'm really going to just dive in and get a little bit more spooky in November and just make people be like, it was last month. And I'm going to be like, this is me.
Shut up.
So yeah. How was your Halloween, dude? What did you dress up as? I mean, the suckers have already seen on Instagram and Facebook and Thread both of our costumes. So
Well, for those of you that haven't seen, it had something to do with this.
Excuse you.
Thank you. I had
Oh.
a little horn, as you can still hear. And I was, as you've probably guessed, as we've talked about it 1,000 times, went to go see the movie, met the man himself, dressed up as Art the Clown. Originally, I didn't know what to dress up as, and all of a sudden I just looked, and it fell into place, and I was like, cool, let's do it. Obviously, I didn't for my job wear the actual art mask. Probably would have gotten fired if that was the thing, except for the fact of several people at my work already knew who I was by the start of the day. And it was like, oh, okay, sick. And then several kids knew who I was as well.
That's worrisome.
Yeah, which I mean, cool. But at the same point, I'm not going to be the one to judge how you parent, because there's a lot worse shit you could be doing instead of showing your kids horror movies. How do you think we wound up the way we did? My dad showed me the Universal monsters in Friday the 13th and Halloween. And
no, I came into this on my own. This was my own. I'm my own creation on that one.
All right, how do you think I wound up like this? Either way, yeah. But it was how do you forget it? Never mind. But also a lot of them, when I asked, I'm like, how do you know who Art the Clown is? They went from TikTok. I was like, oh, okay, all right,
yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
In the memes right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was Art the Clown. Had a lot of fun with it. Made grown men scream. Pretended to be a statue or one of those animatronics, just slowly going back and forth with the Dawn Post Tor Johnson mask full of candy, which I felt like
that's
sacrilege, but at the same point, hey. And then when they would get close, I'd just jump out and go. Obviously, I wouldn't make any noise, but dude, I was so committed to character. Unfortunately, we were the house and our neighbors next door. An Amazon delivery driver came through while trick-or-treating was happening, dropped off a package at the house next door. I was like, oh, thank God we're not the house. And then he started walking up to us. I was like, fuck. So I stayed in character, honked the horn at him a few times, smiled, and shook my head frantically as I got the package, and then walked away. And I was
amazing.
He was driving away. I was waving to him and just going, dude,
you
I was
either
having
made that
the
guy's
most
day
fucking
or you either made that guy's day or he quit his job.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't fucking do this anymore. Man, that's amazing.
The only other one that's really stood out to me was there was a group of 6 or 7 people, and some of the people were about the costume, some of the people were like, oh God, this guy. One of them really didn't like clowns, so I zeroed in on her.
Oh, nice.
I was just sitting waving until she waved back or acknowledged me. And then they started walking away, so I started honking the horn, and they kept going, herker, herker. So I responded with the horn, and then they just kept making noise, so I just sat there and went, herker, 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 and just wouldn't stop. I was like, listen, I'll fucking win this battle, all right?
Yeah, right.
I was a menace on Halloween night. It was great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's the Creeping It Real I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about our favorite spooky day and our costumes, because we hadn't really discussed it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. It's better than the crap news that I had for us for Creeping It Real. I mean, I'll throw it out there anyway. There's no saving it, because this is fresh. This is fresh bullshit. And if you follow us closely on our Instagram, you saw I already posted it in the story and stuff like that. They have announced they are making The Orphan 3. I don't quite understand why. Don't think it's necessary. I honestly don't think that the prequel that they made was necessary. It was not good. It was unwatchably bad. And then they just announced Black Phone 2.
Really?
Not necessary. There's no reason for it. It doesn't need to exist.
It's dead. What are they going to do? A prequel?
I mean, the announcement was announced with the back of a director chair that says Black Phone 2. So either he's not dead, or they're going to make him an art figure, because that's working so well for one creature. Why not do this again? I mean, granted, it's worked as long as time has existed. Jason Voorhees, so on and so forth. I don't know. I don't see a reason for it. Once it hits streaming, I'll watch it. I already pay for their subscription. I'll watch it. Unless it looks like hot dookie, then I will not watch it, because I don't see a reason. So yeah, Creeping It Real starts high note, ends low note. Thanks, Rob. No problem, Rob.
Anytime, Rob. So that is what's been Creeping It Real. Some good, some
Yeah, Creeping It Real, Creeping It Real shitty.
Yeah, I feel like we keep coming back to Creeping It Real shitty. There's a lot of that.
I gotta find some more high notes. Right? No, there really hasn't been. And that's a bummer. I mean, Derry's coming out, so I guess we could call that a bit of good news. I don't know when the release date is. I haven't looked into it too much, but I guess it's called Welcome to Derry. Seems promising. Maybe we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
I just keep yawning, so I have to hover over the microphone.
That was intense.
Anyway, I know. It was just like camping.
Yeah.
So, Ob, we are here on this very day in time to finally wrap up one of my top threes, the Universal Monster franchise, the Big Eight. We are here to talk about The Phantom of the Opera from 1925. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. I'm going to say it right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Because we've never talked about a silent movie. And I feel like I honestly don't think it really should make much of a difference. But to me, it's like a lot of what we're going to say might just be what we've inferred or what we kind of like feel like was happening. Because like when you see people acting in silent movies, everything is exaggerated.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is over exaggerated.
It's
like when Christine sees the Phantom's face, it's just insane. She's a cartoon of a person. So it's going to be an interesting one, but
yeah, for sure. I mean,
great movie.
I quite literally took no notes, which is strange for me. The least amount of notes before this was for The Mummy. And now officially I have taken 0 notes just simply because really what this is going to be more than a spoiler is like a synopsis of the movie. Because that's the only way we can do. What are we going to read the dialogue that was on the screen? Like,
I mean, there was some dialogue that was really good. One of my favorite line, obviously, that was like, you know, a descriptor. His eyes are ghastly pits in which there is no light like holes in a grinning skull. His face is like leprous parchment, yellow skinned stretched drum tight over protruding bones. His nose, there is no nose. And it's like just the descriptor before we even get to see the makeup. Now, here we are in 2024. And if you're in the horror community and you don't know what Lon Chaney Sr.'s Phantom of the Opera makeup looks like, how?
Yeah.
How? There is some way, shape, or form that you have seen this makeup. It is beyond iconic. Like, I'm going to use that word a lot, as I normally always do. But, like, I'm just going to call an early bloody legend. It's Chaney Sr.
100%.
It's Chaney Sr.
Yeah.
Yay! He made his, as we all know, Chaney Sr. did his own makeup. He did his own makeup for this, for The Hunchback. He had the moniker of the Man of 1,000 Faces because he could make his own makeup and change himself into anybody. Gene Simmons made a song on his solo album called The Man of 1,000 Faces about Lon Chaney Sr.
That's dope.
And Gene Simmons took part of his the demon costume from London After Midnight and Professor Burke's costume with the bat-like wings underneath. Mm-hmm. That's how he based his costumes on the demon.
That's dope.
Yeah. So the movie starts off with the title card, just straight up says The Phantom of the Opera. It was produced entirely in the Universal Studios in California, which this was Stage 28. It housed the oldest film set in the Universal backlot, the Paris Opera House, till demolition in 2014 due to fire damage and time. So unfortunately, this wonderful, wonderful studio, I have several notes of just how amazing the set design in this looks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I remember correctly, it was Carl Laemmle Sr. went to the Paris Opera House and was given a tour of the like underground and Croft and whatever, and that's how he modeled it for this film. Is like almost 1-to-1 scale replicas of what the Paris Opera House looks like.
Damn.
Up top and underneath. So all those ramps moving back and forth, like that shit's in the Paris Opera House.
That's nuts. Absolutely.
Whether there's a horse down there, I don't know. Yeah, I originally said last week that this was about an hour and change. I don't know which Phantom I looked at because this motherfucker's an hour and 54 minutes. This is the longest.
So that was confusing me. I found 3 different versions. One was an hour and 17 minutes. One was an hour and 40 some odd minutes. And then the other one was and then the other one was the hour and like almost 2 hours long. And so I went for the middle because I figured the shorter one was probably a neutered version and I didn't want to watch that. The version I ended up going with confused the shit out of me. So
Go
I'm going to take you on this quick little ride with me because I need answers. So I don't own it. I could have swore that I owned this. The only way to watch it that I could find was to rent it, and I didn't want to rent it. So I went to YouTube. And it's on YouTube, and there's 3 different versions. So I picked one. It also had the most amount of views, so I figured this has got to be it. It was, just so you know. But about a quarter way through the movie, there's a big scene where it's like a masquerade ball.
Yeah.
The entire scene was in color.
Yep.
Is it supposed to be in color? All right.
So...
because that confused the living shit out of me. I was just like, the fuck is going on right now?
It is in color. It's filmed in 2-color Technicolor because when the Red Death shows up, they wanted him to pop.
Yeah.
So they wanted, black and white movie. I was watching one where occasionally the screen would turn blue, like when they found out how to get into the Phantom's hideout.
That was the one I was watching.
So I have the Blu-ray specifically of the Phantom. The one that's in the Universal box set is the Claude Rains one. And it had 3 versions. It had with a new score, with an old score, and then basically this is how the movie came out in 1925. This is the 3rd version you could watch. And I was like, sick, let's do that. Original score. But yeah, the Red Death scene was filmed in 2-color Technicolor, so you could see the Red Death appear more than anything out of the movie, and supposed to basically scare the shit out of people when they were young or watching this in theaters. Yeah,
I can imagine how that it would, especially right after that little fight, and he goes out and he overhears the conversation that's happening outside, and his cape is the only thing in color. I was like, this is knucking futz. I don't know if this is supposed to be. Now, I'm also now outing myself because not only did I think I owned this, I was more than sure that I had seen this. Now, I may have.
The Phantom.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody, you suckers know, everybody knows. I'm now officially, I am 6 years sober. Let's put that out there. My anniversary was the 2nd of November. Hit 6 years. So I've seen a lot of stuff, and sometimes I'm like, I've definitely seen that. And then I watch it, I'm like, have I seen this? And I'm like, no, I've definitely seen this. But 9 times out of 10, I was probably so drunk, I just don't remember. So there's a really good chance I've seen this before. I maybe just don't remember, especially seeing as I was floored by the color and the length of the movie. I remember the end of the movie clear as day.
The ending's great.
Well, I got to the end and I was like, wait, I know all of this. And it was late o'clock while I was watching it. So I was just like, you know what? I know how this ends. So I promptly went to bed. I know this ending.
Yeah, I mean, this one, for me personally, I know it's a 2-hour movie, and again, we could watch 2-hour movies all the live long day. It's just the fact that it's a silent movie. So there has not been a time that I can recall. I've seen this movie many times, but there cannot be a time that I can recall where I've watched it either all the way through or conscious. I don't know why. This movie, I don't think it's in a bad way. I always fall asleep while watching this movie just because it's music. It's music. There's no actual dialogue. There's no actual words. It's just music and moving pictures. And it's the same thing happened when I watched Nosferatu for the first time. I fell asleep during that because it was just like music.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see.
You'll enjoy this little factoid, speaking of falling asleep to movies. In my late teens, I always needed a lot of noise to fall asleep. And the one movie I could put on that would knock me out within seconds was Friday the 13th Part 2.
That's fair.
The score never fucking stops. Rewatch that movie. There is music from the second the movie starts to the second the movie ends. There's no moment of just silence. It's just constant. And all the screams are mooted with it. So night. But yeah. So let's jump into this. Let's start from the top. You gave us our beautiful opening title card.
And this is basically where we learn about, it's based on the story by Gaston Leroux, weird woven about the Paris Opera and all its tunnels and shit underneath. We see a ballet happening on stage with all the music. We learn about Christine Daae, who is the understudy of Madame Carlotta, who is the stuck-up bitch of the story, and she's basically the hoity-toity, fancy schmancy. I've seen many different renditions of Phantom of the Opera, especially seeing it live at His Majesty's Theatre in London. And every person who plays Carlotta does such a tremendous job because you hate her so much. When there is a character that you hate so much in a movie, you just go, yo, fuck this character. They did a great job. That being said, I still don't like whatever the sister was in Curse of Chucky. I don't remember her name. I don't care to remember her name.
Barb.
Yeah, fuck that bitch. Anyway, basically, we see Christine being the understudy. She's in her dressing room, and we see I believe he's a policeman, or he's just some, guy with a mustache and a fancy cape. Raoul shows up. Raoul de Cagny, I think. De Chagny. Raoul is the love interest, and from the get-go is like, marry me, let's leave this place, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, I can't leave because there's someone watching out for me, and they're, instructing me on how to sing properly. He's like, that's fucking weird, dude. But hey, who am I to judge? We then see that there's people they're talking about the mystery of the Phantom and all the different rumors, if you will, about the Phantom. We also then find out that the old opera managers have chosen to, in the height of the most popular season, go, bye-bye. And as they're handing it off to the slapstick duo of the new managers, basically just smiling, being like, it's yours now. Have fun. Bye. Because they know about the Phantom. They know there's many different stories where it's like they pay the Phantom, like, not security or protection. It's like they pay the Phantom like a salary.
Right.
And they try to keep that up. Nobody attends in box 5. Like, nobody's allowed to be in there because that's the Phantom's box. And the new owners are like, this is stupid. This is ridiculous. There's nothing to do with the Phantom. As the new owners show up, there's a hand that pops through the door and like flicks a note.
Yeah.
Just disappears. There's a lot of reading letters in this movie.
Oh yeah.
And this one's the Phantom basically saying like, what's up? I'm the Phantom. Stay away from box 5. Oh yeah. Christine Daae, she's supposed to sing, not Carlotta. If Carlotta sings, there's going to be hell to pay and you're going to be responsible.
Yeah.
The owners are already like, I don't see a problem with this, right? We're fine. Meanwhile, rumors keep spinning around about what the Phantom is. We see ballerinas running around in like the stage, and there's a devil's mouth that's a door.
It's freaking dope.
Up. Yeah, it is. It opens up, and we see the shadow of the Phantom just pop in, and they all go, but in silent, and take off. Then we meet up with, I believe he's just one of the stage hands, but then he's basically surrounded by all the ballerinas. They're like, please, let's go. And he just tries to walk away. They pull him back in. We meet Joseph Bouquet, or Bucket. I'm going to call him Bucket, who is sitting with a prop head that is blinking. This prop head is moving, and it's so cool. But Joseph starts to explain more stuff about the Phantom. While he's explaining about the Phantom, we cut back to a scene of the ballerinas. I don't know if you caught this. One of them just spins in a circle and comes back to the conversation.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, I don't know if it was intentional, but there's a lot of comedy in this opening. Like a lot of comedy.
Yeah. Like we were saying, there's a lot of over exaggerated like actions. And for lack of better term, there's some extras in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, again, with the ballerina who just spins at the end, right next to the river. So many people in that mob just straight up jump into the water. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? Yeah, so Bucket has a head. It's really cool. This is where we get the description as yellow leprous parchment stretch over like bones like a drum. And his nose, he has no nose.
He got a Michael Jackson nose.
You
beat me to it.
And then one of the things they say, I'm pretty sure, again, it's at times when you're watching a silent movie, the mouth won't always line up with the words that show up on the screen.
Right.
And it's like sometimes, because later in the movie where it's Ledoux, the secret police investigator, who... It's really good because there's times where he looks like a human version of the Phantom.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously it's meant to look that way. It's meant to distract you. It's meant to go, who the fuck's this guy?
Yeah,
But when
this
Ledoux
strange
and,
hat.
Yeah, his little fez.
Yeah.
When Ledoux and Raoul are running around, there's times where they're just staring at each other. Nobody moves their mouth. And then there's a whole paragraph of words just said.
Some of my favorite moments are when someone just opens their mouth and then it immediately cuts to something. You're like, what the fuck?
It's like watching an old Godzilla movie.
Pretty much. They just mouth open, words.
Here's
Like,
my
oh, okay.
soliloquy.
Yeah.
I think it's Bucket. Yeah, I'm just going to call him Bucket. I think it's
Do
Joseph Bucket that says it. But he's like, ghosts really don't like to be talked about. It's like, then why the fuck are you saying anything, dude? If you know what's going to happen, why are you saying shit?
Yeah. Shut up.
We then find out that Christine hears her angel of music call to her from beyond her dressing room mirror. And this is where she's been singing. And he's like, hey, you're singing instead of Carlotta. I'm going to make sure of it. And says, you need to forget everything. Don't love anybody else. Love me. Sing for me. That's it. And
Yeesh.
we see, so Christine basically is like, cool, I guess I will. Raoul sends like a little calling card to her with his name on it, with like a little butler dude. And she writes on the back of it and sends it back. The butler's probably just like, oh, as he's reading the note, basically saying like, don't ever send for me. Leave me alone.
How about no?
Yeah, shut up. And this is where we find out that, what's his name? I can't remember the guy's name. Basically, the guy who is working the ropes and the ballerinas all swarming starts bringing up a curtain, which we then see the silhouette of a hanged man, which turns out to be Mr. Joseph Bucket.
No, good old fuck it bucket. Mr. Bucket kicked it.
So Raoul then, I think it's like the next day, finds Christine in a garden and is just talking to her. He's like, who's this angel of music? Like, who's it? Like, this master of yours? And she's like, I've never seen him, but I must obey. Like, ooh, okay.
It's real strange.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. So then it comes to, I believe it was on a Wednesday, Carlotta is ill and Christine goes to sing. There's more backstage phantom rumors. The managers ask about box 5 and there's a woman, like, I don't know, an attendant to the opera, if you will, basically brings people to their seats or something. And she's like, don't go in there. That's the Phantom's box. They laugh and they're like, huh. They walk in and they see a shrouded figure sitting in the seat and they turn back around and they go, wait, we're the managers of this place. They go back in, gone.
Nobody there.
There's something I've always loved about the Phantom of the Opera and the fact of it's like, he's like a ghost, but with... He's like a man, but with the powers of a ghost, pretty much. And it's so cool. There's actually something I learned, but I'm gonna pop it up at the end of the movie, end of our breakdown, and I want you to take a guess.
Okay.
So Christine winds up singing that night, and she comes out and kind of faints in front of the curtain. So they bring her back to her dressing room. Raoul tries to come in, but the doctor's like, nope, fuck off. You're not supposed to be here. Christine is saying, no, she can't see you, following the Phantom's orders. So Raoul leaves and just waits outside. God knows for how long he stood there and waited, because we don't really get any passage of time, but it feels like a lot of time has passed. Like, the doctor takes his sweet time. He leaves, and then her maid, her assistant, then leaves, and he tries to go back in, but hears the Phantom calling to Christine again. And this is where she skedaddles.
He side-eyes the door. The whole time he's just side-eyeing the door. That's the other thing about these old movies is they full body face the camera, but then will just look with their eyes hard to one side, and he's just staring at the door. It's so weird. It makes me so uncomfortable. I don't know why. I realized it. I was like, why did these old silent films make me slightly uncomfortable? And for some reason, that does it for me. It's like Angela at the end of Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah. I was very out of order on several of these things. We see the hanged man. That's Joseph Bucket. People are saying the stranglers work, so the Phantom is also the strangler, which, I mean, there are times where you see him go around with like a rope in other versions of the Phantom. I'm pretty sure he's walking around with a noose in the Claude Rains one, which, like, I know we rag on that movie from time to time, but like, there's some cool, awesome visuals in that movie.
There is. Now, I know, like, yeah, we rag on it, but at the end of the day, I think the real reason is because I feel like that version doesn't know if it's a musical or not. And it drives me nuts. Be one or the other. Honestly, because I'm not afraid to admit, like I like a good musical. Moulin Rouge is a fucking fantastic film. But when you don't know what you are and you're trying to sell it as one thing, but it's coming across as neither, it's like you've lost me at that point. Claude Rains is the shit. We know that, and he kills it in that movie. But so that's that.
There's when we get to the unveiling of the makeup in a little bit, there's something I kind of noticed, but I was finally able to put it into words, and I wanna explain it to you, and hopefully that'll kind of make a connection where we are here.
Okay.
So we start seeing, after she faints, there's this mysterious looking man with a fez. He's like investigating or like sneaking around, and it's like, looks like he could be the Phantom. Maybe. He kind of looks like Javier Bardem to me, but it's really interesting to see this character, and he's just following around Raul. He's suspecting Raul. Raul's suspecting him. Blah, 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 blah. We then get another note saying Carlotta is not to sing. It's Christine Daae's turn to sing. If Carlotta takes the stage, you will face the consequences, and you will suffer them. So what do? The management decides, this is our opera house. We don't answer to some phantom. Bitch, that's where you're fucking wrong.
You done goofed.
So Carlotta takes the stage. The management sits in box 5. Motherfucker, that seat's reserved. And they're sitting there laughing it up, being like, this is box 5. What do we have to be worried about? Some ghost stories. Then all of a sudden, lights start flickering, and we see the shadows. We see the silhouette of the Phantom trying to pull a lever, and his voice, as it's described, thunders throughout the entire opera house. Think of how big that place is. How many people are in there going, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. The orchestra, the people singing, and the fact that one man, one Phantom could make his voice thunder and be heard above everything else. So what's he do? He does the thing that everybody's always wanted to see. He drops the chandelier in the middle of the opera house.
That is insane to me.
I don't care which version it is. The chandelier drop rules in every single one.
Yeah, there's a moment in the panic of that scene where in the theater itself, while everyone's trying to leave the actual theater, not down the stairs, but in that moment,
is it in the hallway?
There's a woman who falls.
Yep. Yeah, she gets fucking trampled, dude.
Dude, I watched that and I paused it and I was just like, I have to watch this again. I rewound it. She tripped. Like that's not acting. And I'm like, yo, did this woman actually get trampled? Because then we are outside and we're at the bottom of the stairs while they're leaving, and another woman falls, but everyone like avoids her, and then 2 people stop and help her up. And you're like, okay. And she hams it up. Like, she's like, oh, my stars. Like, fuck, back the hand to the forehead and everything. We'll both take pictures of the pose and put it on Instagram so you guys can see what the pose is if you don't know from our descriptions.
Who does it better?
Yeah. He's literally, I'll put a poll on it. I really want to know. I'm genuinely curious. I didn't dig too far to see if someone was actually trampled during that scene.
Yeah, I wrote a note going, there's a woman that just she's dead. She got trampled by everybody trying to leave the goddamn theater.
Dead as fuck.
In the haste, in the chaos, Christine this is when she goes into the mirror, and we see the first interaction of her with the Phantom. There was a scene earlier describing like the letters and what would happen if, it's such a cool little silhouette with the text of him basically being like, listen, bitch, do what I say or suffer my wrath. And the Phantom's just like swinging in the back, just dancing, hamming it up. But we go into the Phantom's lair, if you will, and we see the screen turns blue, and Christine is like, I don't see anything. And we see a very timid hand to reach out and kind of be like, hey.
I'm right here. How's it going?
Yeah. We find out that is the Phantom, which Christine is immediately like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
How about no?
He's wearing like a mask that was resembling and made for soldiers during World War I that suffered disfigurements of the face. They would wear masks that resembled what an actual face would look like. It's some pretty gruesome shit. If you have not seen it, it's just, that's real stuff. So
yeah. You know what's weird is the mask is, to me, I mean, the reveal of the Phantom's face is iconic. It's jarring. But when you see the mask for the first time up close, which doesn't happen for a little bit, there's one single frame where it's like right on the mask and you can see the fucking, there's like holes, there's fake eyeballs on this thing and then tiny little like holes that you could see through. It's fucking terrifying. I was like, as soon as I saw it again, I went, I want that. I want that mask because it's terrifying. I will put it somewhere where it's not in my line of view in my office.
Doesn't mean I don't want it,
but I want it.
There's so many awesome makeup and costume designs for this movie. The Phantom continues and she's just like, well, are you my angel of music? Are you? And he's like, yep. You have to sing for me. I'll teach you everything I know. Just come with me and sing for me. Stay with me. He brings her down into the lake, which again, as we see the staircase or the ramps going down at angles there's a horse in London. Seeing this on stage, this whole thing was amazing. The actors were walking on a teetering platform suspended by wires, so it looked like the shifting ground the entire time. They were walking back and forth, and it looked like they were walking down an actual thing.
That's crazy.
Oh my God, so many. If you ever find yourself in London and you're able to go see the Phantom of the Opera, do it.
Oh, I would. In a heartbeat. Are you kidding me?
Him rowing the boat was on, it was like I don't know, a remote controlled or a boat on a dolly, and they put the thinnest layer of fog that just crept across the ground, and the floor was so shiny it reflected back up like it was water. They had candelabras come out of the stage. The whole thing was incredible.
That's crazy.
I wish I could have taken pictures, but obviously, couldn't. The only downside, and I believe it was to technical difficulties, the chandelier did not actually drop in that show, which is unfortunate.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but...
Was it supposed to, drop over the crowd, like you guys? Really?
Yeah, it was supposed to, but something I think went wrong with it.
Oh,
unfortunately.
What a bummer.
Yeah.
Crowd participation.
Yeah, it drops down and swings up towards the stage, is what it's supposed to do. But it just shook and sparked and kind of flashed, and that was right before the intermission, so that was supposed to be the big thing. But oh no, I guess I'll have to go back and rewatch it and see if it happens. Oh God, what a shame.
Spoiler field trip.
Oh no,
a literal sleepover.
Dear.
Over the pond.
Sorry. As I was saying earlier, the sets are extraordinary. Like his little room with his piano, just the ceiling that just goes. The bed, he sleeps in a coffin.
Yeah, that's where
she goes in. She goes in, freaks out. He comes out and goes, "That's just where I sleep."
Yeah, that's the best.
So
dude, I was in tears. I was just like, "What the fuck?" The card just goes, "Yes, that is where I sleep." I was just like, "Obviously, dude, but why?" Somebody penned that to put it into frame in a movie. I don't think we needed to fucking do that. Well, also, it's the fact that this movie came out in 1925 and the verbiage they used was, "That is where I sleep." Not with all of the bits and pieces of Old English and stuff that's throughout this movie, you wouldn't have thought that they would have been "And that is where I slumber," or "This is the place that I rest." Yeah, no, it was just, that's where I sleep. What of it? I
took a nap there this morning.
Yeah.
I woke up and had a juice box.
I have snoozy times there. That's where I take my little nappy poos.
My little honk shoe.
Honk shoe, honk shoe, honk shoe.
Honk shoe. So Christine is all sorts of what the fuck. And we see, he gave her a boat ride. Ooh, hey now. Took her on a boat ride. Whoa, hey now. This doesn't get any better. Hops on a boat and goes through the lake, which is seepage. So runoff.
Excuse me?
Dirty, disgusting water is what this little river or lake is.
Poop water.
Knowing that now and then watching him crawl through it with a snorkel after this is like, ooh, ooh.
I mean, he lives down there and he sleeps in a coffin. There's no way he smells good anyway.
That's fair. That's very fair.
He wasn't like, that's where I sleep. Also, this is where I shower. No. Just like, I sleep there. This is why I smell bad.
I sleep, and this is where I shit. Sleep, shit. Thank you, that homie Larry.
I am never going to watch this movie again and not hear that as his voice. Just imagine the booming voice. He just said it's Gilbert Godfrey. Like no wonder everyone could hear him. I'm over here.
I went Joe Pesci. Oh man!
I mean, either of them.
You're not wrong.
God. That's fantastic.
So Christine is freaked the fuck out and she passes out. So the Phantom brings her to another bed. He has a guest room, which is another boat. I don't know if you saw that, but this is like the 1925 Paris opera rendition of a cool race car bed as a kid. Like this boat bed fucking rips, dude. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
Christine wakes up and we see that there's a bunch of shoes and a bunch of dresses basically being like, yo, marry me, motherfucker. And there's a note from the Phantom that says, hey, whatever you do, don't touch the fucking mask. So he's out there in his little like living room area playing piano, having a grand old time. And what's she do? She goes up and very, very slowly pulls off the fucking mask. And we see the reveal of the Phantom's makeup. Yeah, shocked in terror. People fainted in the theater when this movie came out, similar to when Karloff showed up as the monster. People were passing out at this.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But like, again, Chaney did all of this makeup himself. He put wire hooks in his nose to pull it back. He has like animal teeth. So obviously it's not his real teeth, but it's like, yeah, it's not human teeth either. So this man did all this shit on his own. And it's tremendous. Nobody could even come close to copying it. It's like, bitch, I gave you one fucking job. I asked you one thing. Don't touch the mask. Fucking do it. And what you do, you rip the mask off and now see what you did?
Yeah.
This is the ugliness that people like you made. And you can only love me, nobody else. If you try and love anybody else, death to the both of you.
Which is crazy.
I swear. Yeah. Swear to God, I'll fucking do it. And
don't try me.
At this whole time, Christine has been missing since the chandelier went down. We know where she is. And then out of nowhere, she gets a message to Raul. It's like just casually, he's like, oh, message from Christine. Meet you at the masquerade. Perfect. It's just out of nowhere is perfectly fine with the fact that he received a message from Christine. But we get to the masquerade. And it's just a big friggin' party. Raul's getting fawned over by many a women. He's just like, nope, fuck off. Don't touch me. Like, he's not even acknowledging some. And they're just like, oh, this guy, whatever. And then Christine just sneaks up behind him. And they recognize each other somehow. They start going up the stairs. And this is where we get another awesome reveal. As you were saying, it's in color. It's in 2-color Technicolor. We see the Red Death come down the stairs, commanding the presence of the room. Like, I love the whole thing of where he's like got his hand on his chest and he turns around like, just like, you looking at me, motherfuckers? It's so good.
The mask is awesome. He's got the pimpiest of pimp canes. Like
his hat.
Yeah. Dude is a Red Death pimp. That mask is dope.
I'm going to keep bringing it back to it. In London, like as soon as the scene came on, like I was leaning forward in my seat going, I know what's about to happen, but I fucking want to see how this happens. And I'm leaning forward and I see the Red Death start walking down the stairs. And then out of nowhere, there's a second Red Death at the bottom of the stairs. And then there's an explosion. They both drop into the floor out of nowhere.
What?
Yeah. So that was awesome. So the Red Death storms off after, I'm pretty sure he sees Raul with Christine, because he basically just looks up and Raul looks down, takes off his mask, and then they start fleeing up the stairs. And this is where Christine is like, hey, with me to the rooftop. Nobody's up there. Nobody will be able to hear us. You're wrong. So Christine brings Raul up to the rooftop, and then she's like, anybody here? No? Nobody can hear us? Okay. The Phantom's freaking me out. He said, I can't go anywhere. He wants me to be his. We need to leave. So Raul says, I'll have a carriage, basically to charter us to England.
Right.
Meanwhile, on the tit sculpture right above them, did you see the nipples?
Yeah, no, I don't think I did. No.
No, statue got boobs. That's all I'm saying. You're welcome. So meanwhile, the Phantom is just chilling up there. And I love that this is a silent movie because man's like thrashing about, cape flowing in the breeze like Spawn. Dude's just, he looks like he's shouting and screaming at the top of his lungs, but it's a silent movie.
Right.
And the only thing we see of like him saying is in an exclamation point. So he shouted it of, she has betrayed me.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just sitting down there getting real close to kissing, but not. And then he's just like, this fucking bitch.
Yeah. I wanted her to kiss my haggard teeth.
Did you hear that? That was fucking weird. It's like a pigeon up here or some shit. So they take off back downstairs. The Phantom also makes his way through as the Red Death and like smacks some dude with a sword out of the way and is like, get out of my way, motherfucker. And then he passes out. Everyone else is laughing. I'm like, he saw the Phantom. Raul and Christine are told by the creepy looking dude, don't go that way, go this way.
Yeah.
Probably to not have them run in with the Phantom. Like the music in this entire scene is fantastic. I mean, the score throughout the entire movie, I know there's multiple versions with multiple scores. If you watch the original one with the original score, it's tremendous.
Yeah. And that's the one I believe I watched. The score was, I mean, there's a scene earlier where I don't remember one of the women is singing and like the music, it's sunk up with what she's actually like the lyrics for the song. Like she's actually singing. It was really cool.
Yeah. It was the scene right before this where, you know, we see the Phantom's makeup and he's basically like freaking out, like, God damn you, blah, blah, blah. It's in this moment where I looked at it and like watching Chaney Sr. talk with the makeup in is one of the coolest, most unsettling things because it doesn't look like it should work, but it also looks like it works really well. In this moment, I'm looking at him. I'm just going, this is a monster. The way he's acting, the way his face is stretching and like contorting, and he's just like laughing, evil, maniacal schemes. I don't care what happens. You're mine. He's a monster. When you see it in Claude Rains's, we get the origin story beforehand. He's a violinist who gets his music stolen and then retreats to the underbelly of the Paris Opera to basically become the Phantom. And he's got like a slight bit of burn on the side of his face. His whole face is not like a fucking monster. He's just got like So not knowing who he was or what he was beforehand leads into more of the monster feel. The makeup itself is insane. And later when he's running away on the carriage and he's got the wind blowing through his hair, looks like this evil goddamn demon bat out of hell.
Yeah.
Chaney Sr., the Phantom from Chaney Sr. is a monster. The Claude Rains Phantom is just a deranged maniac. He's not a monster.
Yep.
We found out as well that in that scene, his name is Eric, or was Eric.
Eric.
He was disfigured, with a K. He was disfigured young. We also find out through Ledoux, or the Fez man, that Eric was a disfigured, insane prisoner who has escaped and is still at large. And he's basically been living in the underbelly of the Paris Opera for a couple years. This is where we start to end the movie. We see that Raul has a carriage. The Phantom also knows that there's a carriage there. He sneaks out with his mask back on and it's just like, oh, okay. And sneaks back away. So Christine and Raul are talking. It's like, cool. The Phantom came to me. He talked to me. He knows everything. We need to go like right after the performance. And Raul's like, cool, sick, being uncomfortably close to her face as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's the love interest, but there's like times in this movie where she's like, fucking stop, dude.
I can taste your breath. Yeah, back up.
Tastes like garlic. Not a good garlic. It's like, oh, garlic, you didn't brush your teeth. Christine goes out and starts singing. We see some nefarious doings of bottles swapped out. I believe it was either poison or it was actually just booze. Either way, riggers of ropes and lights. They're passed out because they got the bottles. And then he like pulls the conductor or stage director down from the box and then just pops up like, bitch, I warned you. The mask itself portrays a lot of emotion without really portraying anything. It just depends on the way Chaney physically moves his body.
Well, that, and also the fact that the mask is only a half mask and there's like fabric hanging over the mouth. Early in the movie, when you see him talk for the first time, you can see that he's talking with aggression because the air that's leaving his mouth is like in and out. Like that piece of fabric is moving so aggressively. It's these small little details where if there was a shot-for-shot remake of this done now with sound, it would lose some of the terror, I feel. Just because you're adding
that while watching it.
Yeah, you're adding a voice to something that your brain is making a voice for. I mean, it wasn't Joe Pesci or anything like that when I was watching it.
But, as far as you know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I had this more of a, honestly, Invisible Man. Like that real fucking deep, slightly crazy, definitely unhinged, but you're like, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's closer to that.
That's going to tie into my my fun factoid I have for you at the end because
I'm amped.
It's a personal tie-in. Let me just say that.
All right.
So Phantom comes up, lights go out, Christine's taken, and Raul invited his brother here, I guess. I don't really remember seeing Raul's brother, but his brother's here, and Raul takes off. He meets up with Ledoux, as we find out. He's like, who the hell are you? How do you know so much about the Phantom? The fact that he took her away into this mirror. And he goes, I'm Ledoux of the secret police. Cool. And I've been investigating the Phantom for months.
Be a secret.
That's fair. But now he just unveiled the secret to the world. So, well, not anymore. He's not. So Ledoux opens up the trap door in the mirror and they start going through. And this is where Ledoux puts his hand up and he goes, keep your hand up because the Strangler's noose is quick. And they start walking and 20 seconds go by and Raul puts his hand down. Ledoux turns around and is like, bitch, what the fuck did I just say? Puts his hand back up. He's like, idiot, keep it up. So they keep walking through and eventually Raul's brother starts making his way down and finds his way down into the secret passageway. And Raul and Ledoux come up to a small tunnel where we see a face just appear.
Yeah, dude.
It's, I am a messenger from the shadows, turn back or perish. And then it just walks away. It's like, who was that? Who the fuck was that guy?
That was a really cool shot, though, for the time.
Oh, no, it was great. It reminded me of House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, definitely had that vibe. It's cool.
Yeah. Who he is, though?
No idea.
No one knows. He's a messenger from the shadows. That's all we know. Meanwhile, the Phantom is basically just yelling at Christine like, what the fuck? I profess my love for you. I told you you're only to love me. And she's like, I'm sorry, blah. And then Ledoux and Raul fall into a hole. Like they're just walking and then just boop, they drop down into like this hellscape. Like it looks like hell. There's just spikes and pillars and shit. And earlier in the movie, when the Phantom and Christine first went down there, there's like a giant lion knocker almost, or kind of like one of those cat things you see at an Oriental trading shop.
Yeah.
Whatever they're called. It looks like that, basically saying, hey, someone's here. This is how you know. I'm imagining there's probably like a knock or a bell chime with it too.
So the two, if you watch it again, you probably don't have to, but if anyone else has only ever seen this once, if you watch it again, there's two tubes on it. The tubes are made of brass. It is the original alarm, actually. Alarms back in the day weren't like fire alarms and stuff, weren't ringing bells. They were dongs, like bong gong. So the arms themselves have two different height posts on them. So it'll give you two tones. So the arms are moving at the same time, but both of those brass tubes are being hit at separate times. So you're getting a double dung dung. Like, it's a bit louder than that, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Cool little bit of historical knowledge that I've got in my brain.
No, that is cool. Thank you for that. I did not know that. So the Phantom's like, oh, we've got collars. And he heads over, takes something off the wall, and he's got so many fucking power stances in this movie. But this is a power stance right here where he puts one foot up on the ledge and turns back and he's like, you. Just points at Christine and then leaves, takes off his hat, mask, cape, and it's a snorkel. It's like a bamboo stick. And he just walks into the seepage and takes off. Meanwhile, the brother is starting in the boat. Yeah. And Raoul and Ledoux are like, I don't know how to get out of here. Christine, can you hear me? She hears them, and he's like, try and find some keys. If you can find keys, find keys. The Phantom creeps up, and it's a hand creeping out of the water. Not a creature hand, just a hand. Fuck that. No, I hate this. But Raoul's brother is pulled into the water and dies. Can't swim. He doesn't have his pool floaties on. Basically just instantly drowns. The Phantom heads back and comes back in, is like all jazzed. He's like, yeah, all right. He goes over and starts banging on the piano. And Christine finds some keys and tries to sneak away. But the Phantom is just like, what do you have behind your back? God damn it. Not this sneaky shit again. And Raoul shouts, and the Ledoux has to be like, shut up. And the Phantom's like, see, we have more collars. All right. Oh, that's where you are? Cool. That's just my oven. And he turns on the room pretty much, which is like a torture chamber that just blasts heat. Like it says, the heat, insufferable heat. They are trapped in an oven, and they're taking off jackets, like pulling collars and neckties off to try and like breathe. And the Phantom's screaming at Christine, like, make a choice. You could save them right now, but you pledge your love to me. Wow. Ledoux, in the process, finds a trap door. They open it up, go down, and what is stored underneath the oven with massive amounts of heat?
Sourdough bread.
No. Barrels of gunpowder.
Yeah, buddy.
Why you would store that underneath your oven? I mean, maybe that's the reason why, but I'm pretty sure you should have a failsafe to not accidentally go off when you want to set an example by pissing off the woman you're about to try and force to marry you. Yeah. And then there's just two sculptures. There's a scorpion and a grasshopper. And he opens up a box, and it's the grasshopper and scorpion. He's like, if you turn the scorpion, you'll save him, but you're going to love me forever. You turn the grasshopper, the Paris opera blows up to 1,000 pieces. Your choice. And so while she's sitting there going, ooh, ooh, reaching for the grasshopper, the Phantom's in the back with his arms crossed like, which one you going for? No, not that one. No. He's got like actual worriment as she reaches for the grasshopper. Like, can I leave first before you turn that one?
Yeah. Like, give me a 10 count. I'll be.
Yeah.
I forgot something in my car. I'll be right back.
Okay, now turn it. At this time, Bucket's brother, I don't remember what his name is, but he's like one of the bigger dudes. He's got, a beard and mustache, rallied the troops.
Bucket and Barrel.
That's a good one. Sorry. That's a very good one. No, don't be sorry. That was fucking funny. So Barrel leads the charge down into the Paris Undercroft.
Oh man.
And we get a Paris opera sized torch budget where all of a sudden everybody's got a stick. Dude, then everybody's got a fucking torch.
I was so amped. I was like, dude, torch budget's back. Oh man,
there's more smoke in that room than there is breathable oxygen. That's set.
Oh there were moments. There's so much fabric. I was watching. I'm like, dude, I watched a woman get trampled earlier in this movie. Something's caught on fire. I was watching the background the whole time. I'm like, how did nothing get caught on fire during this scene? It's nuts. And then we get seepage torch budget as well.
Yep. So Christine turns the scorpion, which saves Raoul and Ledoux, but she pledges her love to the Phantom. The seepage from the river / lake that he was scuba diving through sinks into the gunpowder, drowns it all, and then they start drowning, and that lowers the water so the crowd can then like trudge their way through. So the Phantom is now in some form of pickle situation where he's like, oh shit, bunch of people coming to fuck me up over here. And then you said you love me, but you're still like, please save this guy. So he opens up a trap door, pulls out Raoul. If Raoul were to look up and go, oh, it would be horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, and Ledoux's just left to fend for his self here. It's great.
Yeah.
But the Phantom saves Raoul, and Christine runs towards the Phantom and left hooks to Raoul. So the Phantom's like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, what the fuck?
Duped again. God damn it.
So he grabs Christine and takes off, and Raoul and Ledoux are like, oh shit, where did he go? There's a coffin in here, must be where he sleeps. And they just follow the way back up through the Paris Opera. The Phantom has brought Christine outside to the carriage, throws the carriage driver off, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeets that guy off. That dude, I was in tears. I was laughing so hard. He was asleep too. You just fucking throws him.
Yep. And just takes off into the streets of Paris. And everybody else is apparently a track star because they're all like running as fast as they can. I know it's a silent movie and they speed it up, but it's like they're running like it's insane.
Yep. They're all
the Phantom. Again, the Phantom is very monstrous in this, where it's like he is deranged. His face is incredible. He looks like a bat out of hell in this carriage. And Christine just jumps out of the carriage. Phantom rounds the corner and the carriage fucking falls apart, like held together with duct tape and a prayer in Paris. He tries to like go back and get her, but then he sees the crowd and he's like, all right, cool. It's my own survival at this point. Phantom runs, is chased down. And this is one of the most triumphant scenes in this movie. It sounds weird to describe it that way, but the way he does it, the way the Phantom has portrayed himself, even in his timid first, like, hi, Christine, he is regal. He is royal. He is powerful. He commands. And he just goes down to the bottom of the stairs, like right next to the river, and a whole crowd's behind him. He reaches into his pocket and pulls something out. It's like holding up a fist, like, come at me. I'll do it. You want to meet God? I'll send you to him right now. And is like, turns around and the other crew stops. He turns back and goes, ha, silly bitches. Opens his hand, he's got nothing, and is just laughing as he opens his arms, and the crowd swallows him whole. You see several extras jump into the river, but you also see people like punching and swinging at him.
Dude, there are at least 3 people with like mallets or something. They bludgeoned him. Dude, it was fucking brutal.
Yeah, and they chuck the body in the river. And there's a honeymoon, but who gives a shit? And that is 1925's The Phantom of the Opera. Now, as we were talking about earlier, we gave it away at the very beginning. Bloody Legend, it has to be Lon Chaney Sr.
Yeah.
There's no other person that can pull off this makeup or this look. Claude, we love you. Wasn't it?
Nope.
Sorry. It just wasn't.
I'm not sorry. You're done fucked up.
So my bit of trivia, I found out while watching a show called Building Friendships on YouTube. It's a Lego building podcast. And
interesting.
People just, they build Legos while getting interviewed. And someone who was on most recently in their episode was saying, I would love to portray a universal monster. And my brain went, Invisible Man? And he goes, Phantom of the Opera. Can you take a guess as to who said they would love to do that? It's a recent thing.
A newer, more recent big name actor?
You could say that.
I've got one guess, but for the life of me, I can't remember this dude's name. Give me 1 second.
Okay, then it's definitely not that person. If you forgot this man's name,
is it David Howard Thornton?
It's David Howard Thornton.
Oh, okay. Because my
Art
brain
the Clown would love to be the Phantom.
Because when you said it, my brain went to a more quote unquote recent actor that's gotten big and has kind of recently disappeared. But I was like, if I could see any modern actor be the Phantom, Adam Driver.
Ooh. Okay.
That's my fan cast. I don't give a shit who else is in the movie, but Adam Driver as the Phantom, his voice, his stature. If you're putting prosthetics on him, he's got an oddly shaped head as is, so it might work even better. That's not an insult to him. He's an oddly shaped fella. From one oddly shaped fella to another. We understand.
Should have seen him in The Last Jedi.
I did. I wish I hadn't, but dokie dokie. Yeah.
We should really stop meeting like this. Yeah, you're telling me.
Look at this.
Just my pants up like a big baby in a diaper.
Yeah, look. So strange.
Oh, mother, I made boom boom. But yeah, basically the question was posed as, if there was a remake, what would you like to be, like, which character / monster would you enjoy being in a remake? And David was like, well, probably something of the Universal monsters. I would love to play the Phantom of the Opera. And in my brain, awesome. I went, that's fucking incredible. But I also was thinking, you could also kick ass as an Invisible Man.
100%.
They didn't just, like, have you seen his Joker tape where he was acting as the Joker and his Joker monologues?
Not only that, I mean, he's done the voice recently in another interview where he was asked in an interview while he was being interviewed for fucking Terrifier 3. We saw your tape for the Joker. Is this something you still want to do? And he goes, I would love to do it in any way, shape, or form that I could, which I think is a lot more humble for him than to just be like, I want to be on screen as the Joker. But I mean, he does the 90s animated series Joker perfectly. Like, he sounds, I think he just did the like him.
Killing Joke monologue too.
Yeah.
That's something they all go back to.
It's like, the easiest
Hamill's
one.
Done that.
Yeah. And Mark Hamill is the Joker. Like, Heath Ledger knocked it out of the park with that rendition, but without a shadow of a doubt, it's Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill is the Joker. He is the best Joker we've ever had. He's the worst Chucky we've had, but he's the best Joker we've ever had.
So, the little tie-in with David Howard Thornton and Art the Clown and the Phantom of the Opera. That's who he would like to be if he was a remake of a monster.
Nice.
I mean,
I'm down.
See it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Try and stop
David
me.
Howard Thornton.
And fucking Phantom of the Opera. So, out of 10 awesome makeup face reveals, how much would you give this movie? The Phantom of the Opera from 1925.
So, it's tough. Honestly, because the movie as a whole, the movie's fucking strange. Like, it's just a strange film. Like, weird as fuck, but so goddamn good at the same time. It's also hilarious, intentionally and unintentionally. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for the way the movie ended with such unblinking brutality and a torch budget, I think I'd probably be giving it a much lower rating. 6.5.
Okay.
It's tough to keep interest. The art of things is what kept my interest. And then, before you do your rating, I have to give you another little piece of history here. As I was watching the movie, my brain immediately went to, as it does, when and what was the first movie that was released with sound, like synced up voices? And so the look on your face is saying you don't know, which is interesting because I didn't know.
I think I've heard it before, but
so this was the only reason I'm sharing this. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even brought it up, but the only reason I'm sharing this is because of the date. So the movie is called The Jazz Singer, and it was released in 1927, 2 years after this movie, on October 6th, my birthday.
Hey.
I was like, what? Like, this is awesome. I'm still like super amped about it too. I don't know why this excited me so much, but knowing that like my birthday and the first movie ever with sound were the same day, obviously not the same year, but like I don't know. That's just fucking cool to me. I was like, this is awesome. So yeah, 1927,
Look at you.
2 years after this, the first movie with sound. And I'm going to find and watch The Jazz Singer because now I am intrigued. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. But
Yeah, you said the
That
name
being
and
said-
it reminded me, oh yeah, I've heard it, but I just haven't seen anything about it. But
yeah, no,
That's awesome.
That'll be an interesting watch. I'm looking forward to it. But on to you. Out of 10 unmasked amazing face reveals, how many do you give it?
I would probably be in a very similar boat to you. As we were saying at the beginning, it's a silent movie. It's a 2-hour movie. And I have not watched it all the way through consciously or without pausing. Cause it's just like, there are times where I just get like, oh God, I'm just meh. I would give it a 7 as for the movie. The monster
Right.
himself,
20.
that is the
Yeah.
Phantom. Yeah.
That's 1,000.
That is the Phantom.
1,000 out of 10.
1,000 faces, baby. Yeah, like if I could, and we're gonna do this. This is kind of peeking ahead behind the curtain. I'm pretty sure we've already talked about it, but if we haven't, we're talking about ranking the top 8 in its own like extra episode. So it's not like taking up the end part of the Phantom episode or anything like that. But we're going to talk about our ranking of the movies and our ranking of the monsters, in which are our favorites. So
Yeah,
that's something to look forward to. And the Phantom is definitely up there. But
absolutely.
all in all, the Phantom of the Opera from 1925, if you haven't seen it, it's an absolute staple for horror. It's an absolute staple for monster movies in general and just classic movies. Even if you're a fan of musicals, this isn't the musical one. That would be the one with Claude Rains from 43. And it's just tremendous. Like,
Yeah.
the Phantom rules. So, Rob, as we normally do at the end of our episodes, we have some people to thank normally. Is there anybody that you would like to thank this week?
Yeah, I want to thank you. Both of our schedules have become absolutely insane. I feel like most people this time of year, October to December, it's just a fucking clusterfuck of shit. But I want to thank you for not only like, you're not even like finding the time, you're making the time to get the editing done at this point. Between that, just thank you for keeping the editing going and making these episodes sound fucking awesome. I want to thank my amazing fiance as well for allowing me to make the time for not only getting the recordings done, which we're doing later than we normally do and on days that we don't normally do, just so that we can get these out to y'all, but also being so gracious and like actually super helpful with a lot of the social media stuff, because we're ramping up, man. I'm really trying to reach a wider audience. So thank my wonderful, amazing fiance. But last but not least, I have a really huge and kind of like special thank you to send out there. I did an unboxing video. If you follow us on TikTok, it is on there. You can watch it. I need to thank an amazing horror talk creator who goes by, well, that his name on there is Haunting Season. His name is Josh. Haunting Season's awesome. He has this whole movement he calls Joyful Haunts and Joyful Horrors, and he's a really amazing human being who preaches inclusivity and love, and he's just an amazing human being. Well, he sent me, long story short, he sent me a Blu-ray collector's edition of a movie that I absolutely fucking cherish, but I have not been able to get my hands on another copy after my VHS copy was stolen years ago. This was amongst the time that my house was broken into and everything was stolen from me. He sent me a copy of Dog Soldiers. I'm not going to go into too much because we have a special episode to end out season 2. I'll get into Dog Soldiers a little bit more then, but I will just end it by saying this. Dog Soldiers is the best werewolf movie ever made. That includes The Wolfman. And
How dare you?
it is amazing. So Josh, Haunting Season, thank you so fucking much. I appreciate you. I love your content. I love what you're doing for the community. And I appreciate this so very much. I wanted to, yes, I made an unboxing. I thanked you in that, but I wanted to thank you on here as well. And I said it on there. If you watch the unboxing, he wrote a note. I read the note out loud, so you already know, but now you're going to hear it here. Get ready for season 3, because not only this won't be me just only mentioning Josh, you're going to get to hear from Josh. So we're really excited for season 3. So thank you again, Josh. Please go follow Haunting Season on TikTok if you're on there. If you're not on there, he is on Instagram. He does re-upload on there. So follow Haunting Season on Instagram. That's what I've got. Jason Michael, who would you like to thank this week?
Well, of course, I would like to thank you as per usual. I'm hoping you guys are seeing it, because Rob is putting so much work into getting the socials up and running and like fully going to their full capacity. I'm pretty sure I've made it known I am not the biggest fan of TikTok, but Rob is in the works of making sure that is happening, because that's how a lot of people consume their media. So we would like for you to get to know us, whether it be on TikTok or not. So thank you very much, Rob, for all the hard work that you put in. I would like to thank my wonderful better half, because before I met her, I was all like, oh, Universal Monsters, nothing, blah, blah, blah. Love the Phantom, Cheney. Love the Phantom, Claude. Cheney's still better. And she's for my Christmas gift, which was very late because, we're in different countries, not really a lot we could do, took me to go see the Phantom of the Opera at His Majesty's Theatre in London. And goddamn, my jaw hit the floor within the first few seconds of the actual performance starting, and it did not come back up to my face until the very end. It was insane, and it's giving me a new appreciation for some of the stuff that we see in these movies, and like the connection of like, how the fuck can you do that on a stage? I watched it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I used to do a haunted house. Our family used to do a haunted house out of our backyard for years. So like going to say like Witch's Woods or like Haunted Overload, things like that, I would look and go, all right, there's a drop curtain. Someone's going to jump out right there. Cool. Going to see the theater show led me to just go, all right, how are they going to do that? And either I would see it or I would just go, how the fuck did that happen? So it was awesome seeing like the different movie magic and different production levels across all different types of the Phantom. So thanks, Zoe. And of course, we have to thank our super duper fantabulous, awesome sponsor, Gore Clown, Seamus Belial, kicking behind with all sorts of merch over there, whether that be their own merch or, of course, the Spoiler Sleepover Now Cold Collection. That's not its name, but it could be. Of a couple different beanies. We got a nice sweatshirt up there with the little VHS logo on it. So definitely go support Gore Clown. Say, hey, Spoiler Sleepover sent you. We're a bunch of suckers here. We're here to get some awesome merch. And don't forget to use code Sleepover for 15% off your order of Spoiler Sleepover merch. Thank you very much, Gore Clown. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Rob, before we skedaddle for the episode, what's next week?
Ooh, next week. Speaking of closing things out, we are closing out the Child's Play franchise with Cult of Chucky. And boy howdy, if you listen to Curse, I'm fucking scared shitless to find out how you feel about Cult, because I love Cult. It's so much fun. Oh boy. So yeah, Cult of Chucky from 2017 will be next week.
That is what we are looking forward to next week. Another end to one of our top threes. It feels weird now that we're here, because I'm pretty sure at the beginning of the season we were like, fuck, that's going to be a long time. And now we're here.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up the season. It feels,
Yep. Yeah. And here's the upside, folks. Don't get too heartbroken yet just because we're wrapping up our top threes. We are bringing back the Winter Horrorland series. So all December, we will have winter and snow themed episodes for you. Woo! They will either be shit, looking at you, Jack Frost, or they'll be real good.
Jack Frost was a great movie. You watch your dirty horror mouth.
I was waiting for you to follow it up with looking at you, Jack Frost. just going off.
Gonna give you a little hint. our first episode to ring in the cold winter months. Great episode. So that's something to look
Sure
forward
is.
to right then, right here on Spoiler Sleepover. But until next week, sleep tight, suckers. Don't touch my fucking mask, bitch. He's mean, he's angry, he's chaotic.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's hostile.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Spoiler Sleepover. But the fun doesn't stop there. Go follow us over on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And of course, check out our sponsor, Gore Cloud, and use code SLEEPOVER for 15% off any Spoiler Sleepover merch. So until next time, sleep tight, suckers!
Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Gore Clown Shop.
Do you love all things horror? Books? Movies? Podcasts? Of course you do. Well, come on down to goreclown.com.
Original artwork by an indie horror fan for indie horror fans.
Use code SLEEPOVER at checkout to save 15% on your whole purchase.
Oh, and did we mention? Gore Clown is the only place to get official Spoiler Sleepover merch.
So don't forget to use Sleepover to save 15%.
Stay indie, suckers.